Start off with Damodar on page 290 in this book. Namam Vishwaram Sachchidananda-rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Tyashara-biyulu-kala-dhavamanam Paramrishtamadyandato Dhrutyakopya Rudantamoho netra yugmam rijantam Garam bhojajyugmena satanka netram Moho shvasakam patrirekam kakanta Stita graiva damodaram bhakti bhadham Iti Nanda-kunde Swagosham nimajandamakhyapayantam Tadiyashitageshu bhaktajitatvam Puna prematastam shatavriti vande Varam deva moksham na mokshavadhim va Nachanyam vrineham vare sharapiha Idam teva purnata gopala balam Sada me manyasva virastam kimanyai Idam te mukam bhojam avyaktanilai Vritam kundalai snigdara krishagopya Moho shumbitam bimbarakta me Manasya virastam malam lakshalapai Namo deva damodarananta vishnu Prasida prabhu dukha jalapti magnam Kripa drishti vrityati dinabhatanu Griha nishama magnam eriakshitrisha Gurver atmajo badham urjaiva yadvat Tvaya mochito bhakti bhajo kritocha Tata prema bhaktim swakam me prayascha Namokshikahom me stidamodareha Namaste studamne spuratiptitamne Twadayirajata vishvasya dhamne Namorarikayai tvariya priyayai Namo nandalilaya devaya tubhyam Namorarikayai tvariya priyayai Namo nandalilaya devaya tubhyam Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jai Shri Guru Premanande Hari Hari Bol
Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Ganhavika Giridhari Radha Binod Vihari Ju Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Maharaj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Param Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Shila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Baladev Vidibhushan Gaudi Vedanta Acharya ki jai. Jai Rasik Siramani Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya ki jai. Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's ki jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parsadi ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sika Hol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Goldrandvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janadvip Moldumdvip Rudradvip Atmaka Navadvip Dham ki jai. Badravan Bandiravan Belvan Lohavan Mahavan Madhuvan, Talvan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, Vrindavan, Kadyavan, Kamyavan, Brajamandal ki jai. Shishi Radha Krishna Gopa Gopiko Govardhan Dvarasavar Matika Shri Brajamandal ki jai. Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana ki jai. Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Purnamasi Devi Yogamaya Maharani ki jai. Gopishwa Mahadev ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai. Ketramandal ki jai. Sarva Vigna Vanasa Karishina Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charidam ki jai. Chari Sampradaya ki jai. Chari Acharya ki jai. Akara Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Prema Dei Hari Hari Bo. Vancha Kalpa Kurubhyascha. Kripa Sindhu Bevacha. Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Nanda-baba pranams. Welcome everybody. Today we have a very long day of parikram. We will try to squeeze into a lapse of the 2 hours that we are expecting that everybody has time for. So today we have speakers, Bhaktivedanta Trihandi Maharaj, who will be talking about the glories of Sri Vasacharya, Dhananjaya Pandit, Gadadhar Das Thakur. Then Bhaktivedanta Maharaj will take us to Ter-kadamba, Asisesvara Mahadev. Then after that, we go back to Trihandi Maharaj, who will take us kindly to Pavana-sarovara, Kinchana's place, Nandagram's the palace, Nanda-bhavana, Lalita-kunda. After that, Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj will take us to Uddhava-kyari and talk about the pastime of Gopastami, the nice katha. And Sudadvaita Maharaj as well, he will then take us to Sanket and Prema-sarovara. So, Om Jnanati Mirandasya, Gyanan Gyanan Shalakaya Shakshuni Militam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. May Shri Gurudeva guide us, protect us, and take us to these beautiful, beautiful places today, so that our hearts may become imbued by the Harikatha that we'll be hearing today. So I give the mic back to you, Maharaj, to hear about these 3 great personalities.
Jai Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Dadaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandava pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our divine Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to everybody. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhubevacha, patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So just as an introduction, prior to our parikrama, on the direct orders and inspiration of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, he's told us that if we omit or neglect to remember the disappearance and appearance days of the great acharyas, this amounts to aparad, this amounts to a great offense. So he's very kindly given us this truth very strongly in his teaching. So today is the disappearance day of Sri Gadadhar Das. So don't be confused between Gadadhar Das and Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is that manifestation of Sri Radhika. Gadadhar Das has sometimes been described as like the effulgence of Sri Radhika. Gadadhar Das is an eternal Parikar associate of Nityananda. He has actually two swarups, one as a gopi and one as a cowherd boy of Nityananda Prabhu. So I'm just doing very briefly, I've got 5 or 6 minutes to say all of these things. So then Gadadhar Das, he has his place in Adi Yadaha, which is near Calcutta. That's his Shripad. But don't be confused between Gadadhar Das and Gadadhar Pandit. And then it's also the disappearance day of Dhananjaya Pandit. So Dhananjaya Pandit, again, is an eternal, one of the Das Dwadasa Gopals of Nityananda Prabhu. He's residing in his place is close to Navadvip, not far from Navadvip, his Shripad there, and a very beautiful place. So Dhananjaya Prabhu, and it's also the disappearance day of Srinivasacharya, a major personality spreading this mission within the realm of Bengal and something of Orissa, but mostly in Bengal. So Srinivas, Shyamananda, and Narottam, they took the books across. Shyamananda goes into Orissa, and Narottam, he goes into the north of Bengal, and Srinivasacharya, he goes between Orissa and Bengal for most of his preaching. So Srinivasacharya, a most formidable personality. There are so many teachings about him. We have his beautiful Sad Goswami Astakam that we sing regularly, that was conceived by him. So this is Srinivasacharya. And then also today is the Gopastami. It's the Gopastami day, and our dear brother Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj will be speaking about Gopastami when he comes to do Uddhava-kyari. So this is just a basic introduction. I'm just offering momentary pushpanjali to these three personalities because we're in the middle of a prikrama and we have a lot of places to go to. So Vaishnavacharyas ki jai, Gaur Prema-sarovara. And also in this time frame, I would like just to show where we're going today, just again to educate our devotees geographically. So here is a map of the Braj Mandal, and there's the Jamuna. Everyone can see that. And if you can put your cursor on Govardhan, Rasamandra, yes, cursor on Govardhan. So here's Govardhan. Yesterday we went to Gokul, across the Gokul, southeast, Gokul. Hey. Yes. This is Gokul and Mahavan. Now we're going through back to Govardhan, cursor back to Govardhan. Then we're going up. We're going up to Nandagan, and this circle, this area here. This is Nandagan, Varshana, and Jabat is here in this area. So now I'll give you a open picture of this area so you can see it more clearly. I think, yes, here we go. So you can expand your, there we got Varshana, Prema-sarovara, and we have Nandagan. Nandagan, we're getting close to the border now of Rajasthan. So see where we are in the context of the whole mandal. So we've come north now. Yesterday we were in Gokul, which was the southeast. Now we're in the northwest today. So this is Nandagan. So this is the area we're going to be describing and walking in today. And Ter-kadamba is very close to Nandagan. So this is just very briefly an overview of the geography. So that should be sufficient to pinpoint the devotees' focus of where we are today. I hope that's all clear with everybody. Just show the big map one more time. Okay. So is everyone aware of this from Govardhan? And then yesterday we were in the east, and today we're in the northwest. So this is where we're going today. Okay, Brajamandal Ki Jai. So now we'll go back to our MC and he'll determine where we're going next. Hare Krishna.
Nanda-baba pranams.
Patitanam Pavnivyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. That was very, very nice glorifications for today. And it's so much clearer when we have the map and our mind can travel there visually, and then we can be taking there now through the ears. So please, I'm pleased to introduce now Bhaktivedanta Vaikras Maharaj, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and one of the few sannyasis who was able to put up with me for so long in India. So we're going to be traveling to Ter-kadamba and Asisesvara Mahadeva. So please, Maharaj, mic is yours, and I'll start again the timer.
I'm starting my timer. Okay. Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulamilitanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantamanupeta Apeta Krityam Dvapayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tan Maitaya Tadavo Benedus Tam Sarvabhutam Hridayam Munimanatasmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshaye Kiptashtikamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanada Vindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, begin by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityaleda Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityaleda Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, under our exalted Rupanu Guru Varga and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So, again, offering special obeisance to Srinivasacharya, Dhananjaya Pandit, and Sri Gadadhar Das. We ask for their blessings, and speaking on the pastime place of Ter-kadamba, which includes the Bhajan Kuti of Sri Rupa Goswami, and then down the road we go jumping past a few places and go to a Carana-pahadi, place of Krishna's footprints. So, it's really nice to see that map, because if you've been on the buses before, you know these roads we're driving on. If we come from Varshana, we're driving down this road. Then there's Prema-sarovara, and then we get to Nandagan being on the left of the road, big high hill, and on top the temple. And then down the hill off to one side, it would be the Pavana-sarovara. But then when we get out the bus, to our right, opposite of Nandagan, is a large, large field that we all walk down. And one place we go to, which we'll hear, is Uddhava-kyari. But if we go down that field and make a left, we go to Ter-kadamba. Now, Ter-kadamba, actually, we never know actually a precise place, because it's a very large area, and at one time it was filled with kadamba trees. Now it's largely barren, sandy with scrub brush and some holes here and there. Not so much there, because Gurudev has said that the water became stagnant and all the kadamba forest kind of just disappeared. although occasionally sadhus will plant kadamba trees. Perhaps one day it will be restored. But this is a place, like many places, where Krishna would have pastimes with both his cowherd boyfriends and with the gopis. Kadamba means tree, right? Kadamba tree. And the Ter means to call. So Krishna would, remember, this is very close to his own home, right? And so he would call the cows from this place, call them out. And a nice description. He's got so many thousands of cows, but some of them we know as Shamali, Dauli, Pitambari, Kalindi, right? And he would call them all. And when Krishna calls with his flute, the name of each individual is contained in that flute song. And they all feel that Krishna is calling me, just like the gopis, right? Just like us, when our guru has given us our mantras, these bij mantras, these are the seed mantras coming from Krishna's flute. And within that sound are all our own relationships with Guru, with Mahaprabhu, with Radha and Krishna, right? So he would call them, come, come, come. And just like we have our beads, right? We have our beads. Krishna has a jeweled necklace, and he would count how many cows are coming. Are they all coming? And if the count wasn't right and someone wasn't there, then he would call out those names again, calling with that flute. And then, when they're all together, then he would return home with the herd. So it's a place of cowherd boy pastimes, and although we won't hear today, there are many small, really sweet pastimes that take place all around here with Radha and Krishna meeting, because Javat, where Radhika lives, is very nearby. So from this same place, he would also, on a full moon night, Gurudev describes, sometimes in the gentle light of the full moon night, Krishna would climb this kadamba tree and call the Sakis by playing their names on the sweet notes of his flute. Which kadamba tree? We're not sure, but when we go to Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, in the place where he would write, there are still kadamba trees, and there's one in particular that we will talk about. So perhaps it's that kadamba tree. But he would call them all. And just like when we read in the 29th chapter of the 10th canto, the gopis hearing that sound would forget everything and just know that Krishna wants us. He's calling us. He needs us, right? And of course, sometimes Krishna would say, why are you here? Why did you come out here in the dark of night? And they say, you called us. No, I didn't call you. Yes, you did. You called on your flute. We know what you desire, and we've come only for that. Long, beautiful Prema arguments, right? But he would call them, and they would forget everything. Their bodies, their minds, their families, all their worldly cares. And they would arrive to meet Krishna. They would be in a spellbound condition, just enraptured with this special mood of prema. And here they would perform Rasa Leela with Krishna. Special Rasa Leela full of singing, dancing, jubilation, all lovely, lovely pastimes. So, Ter means to call, right? And Kadamba is the tree. So, and then we're going to hear about Gopastami, but on this day, and we would see this, Brajbasis would bring little children all dressed up, right? Like Krishna and Balaram, and they do little performances, right? It's part of their culture and worship the cows. But within that area is a very special, special place. Sri Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kuti, right? And it's been there a long time, the little shrine there with little pictures of Rupa Goswami, little deities. In the olden days, from the 50s on, Gurudev would always go there. And he had a very special relationship with the pujari there. Even when we went years later, this very old Baba was there taking care of the deities. Very sweet, sweet devotee, right? Brajbasi, who would also give Harikatha. And of course, and simple cobblestone under the trees. In earlier days, not even that, just the sandy place under the trees. But we would all sit under this large tree that just the branches spread out everywhere, right? And it was here that Rupa Goswami would compose so many of his treasured books. Why? Because this is a place of very intimate pastimes, right? Where Radha and Krishna would meet and separate, right? Meeting and separation together. And if you go to the Parikram book and read, there are very short descriptions of so many nice pastimes. And that's just the tip. You know, what was Rupa Goswami seeing? What was Sanatana Goswami? Sanatana Goswami had a bhajan kutir not so far, within walking distance also, right? And many personalities would come and live here and do their bhajan. And so, inspired by these moods, and intensely, whenever he would get these moods of, oh, when Radha and Krishna would meet, and the kadamba tree under which he was sitting would bloom with fragrant flowers, just blossoming everywhere, fresh green leaves, verdant, just wonderful environment sitting under that tree. And then he would feel separation in that same, tasting the Mahabhava of Srimati Radhika. And when that separation came up, then verses of separation would be stimulated in his heart that he would write, pastimes that he would write. And the kadamba tree would immediately just dry up in that same fire of separation. The flowers would dry up and fall to the ground. The leaves would fall to the ground in the heat of that separation. And then once again, remembering the meeting of the divine couple, the tree would sprout and erupt with new leaves and flowers. That is the nature of the Vrindavan that the Goswamis were experiencing. When we go there, we hear about this, we know that it happened, we can't see it, but an indescribable greed does awaken in the heart, especially if you're in the company of a Rasik Mahabhagwat. And when Gurudev would go there, and in the early days, when he would go there in the company of Bhakti Janardhan Jivan Maharaj, they would go into such intense moods, and sometimes rolling on the ground, weeping. I've heard descriptions from some godbrothers who were there. And so even, when we were there, the few times I went when Gurudev was there, it was very powerful. The moods in his heart would be just like rays spread everywhere. And so going there at other times, and even remembering it now, those feelings can be evoked and come forth. And there's another pastime which they reenact, and that is Sanatana Goswami would come sometimes and visit, and the two brothers would be absorbed in really deep conversations. Right? Because in Radha Krishna Leela, they're Rupa Manjari and Lavanga Manjari, very intimate associates and maidservants, Palyadasis of Srimati Radhika. So the nature of their katha we can't even conceive. And they would become completely absorbed. Right? And so Sanatana Goswami appeared, and they were talking and talking, so enraptured, right? And then in the afternoon, it became time for some kind of prasad, and Rupa Goswami was thinking, oh, I have nothing to offer. Because like Sanatan, they would subsist on madhukari and maybe just get a little flour, something very simple. And he was thinking, oh, if only I had some milk and sugar and rice, I could make kheer and offer it to Radha and Krishna and give that to my brother. But he had nothing. And so he was, concerned. This is when his brother first came. And then after being enraptured in this talk, and it was time for prasad, all of a sudden a beautiful village girl shows up. Young girl, Kishori. And she spoke to them, oh, Baba, my mother has sent rice, milk, and sugar with me. Quickly, make sweet rice and take, you and your brother. And then she left. And Rupa was very happy. But as is the case even with devotees like us, when they start talking Harikatha, they lose track of time, right? I know this is considered a fault by Sri Dandi Maharaj. She's always yelling at me, but really it's just a shadow of this quality, right? I'm aspiring for this. So, on the other hand, he's correct because Gurudev would stay on topic and stay within the time limit. So both are there. We can reconcile. So they're talking and talking. And then the girl comes back. Oh, you've not cooked. You've nothing to eat. So quickly she gathers some dried cow dung, and simply by blowing on it, it erupts into flame. And with just a few moments, extraordinary sweet rice is cooked. She gives it to them. They offer to Krishna, and then they take, right? And she says, yeah, I have to go because my mother will chastise me. So she's gone. And then they take the sweet rice, and what happens is that they're transformed. They have this extraordinary experience. Spiritual emotions and visions are pouring into their heart. Transcendental visions, spirites, right? So then Sanatana Goswami, who's very intelligent and wise, and he's thinking, how could this happen? By this, this is, I've never experienced anything like this. And he asked Rupa, did you think of anything before? Did you want anything? And he said, I was just wishing I had some ingredients to make kheer for you. And then this beautiful girl showed up. And Sanatan says, oh, that girl was none other than our Swamini, Srimati Radhika herself, and she's come to serve us. And as Shuddha Palyadasis, they completely lamented, oh, Radhika's engaged in our service. How shameful. And so they felt bad. Later, after Sanatan left, Rupa was taking a little rest, and he had Swapna Darshan. Radhika came to him in a dream and consoled and pacified him and said, oh, I just wanted to do this for you. Don't lament. I love you so much. She had such kind, sweet words for Rupa Manjari, Rupa Goswami. Right? So, and so when we go there at the end of the program, the Baba will bring out sweet rice for everybody. And it is quite extraordinary. We've had so much sweet rice in the mats all over Vrindavan. You get some taste here and there, but this sweet rice is really special. Who can say? It's because it's, Ardhanamrita. It's been tasted by the lips of Krishna and Mahaprasad. It's definitely tasted in a reenactment of this pastime by Rupa and Sanatan. So if we jump from this place past Nandagan down the road, we go to this quickly to this Carana-pahadi, which is the place where Akrura first saw the footprints of Krishna when he came to get them, because he came there, right? Because Krishna's living in Nandagan. Right? And you can still, there's a large rocks there, gray rocks. Now they have these platforms and everything all around, but it used to be much simpler. And you crawl on the rocks and you can see these different impressions, which are footprints. And Akrura was rolling in the dust there, feeling so fortunate. He's a Jnani Bhakta, but he knew Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yet he was on a mission from King Kamsa to bring him, to kill him, but he had faith that Krishna could not be killed, that he would do what was right, and that Krishna would not condemn him for this. And he felt that this is some Leela, somehow or other I've been given the opportunity by this wicked Kamsa, but it's allowing me to see my beloved Krishna and Balaram. And they received him so nicely, but this was the first place he came. So with that, I will stop and turn it over because we have such a big...
Asisesvara Mahadev.
Oh, Asisesvara Mahadev. Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, that's a place quite nearby. And we don't generally do a lot of kata there. Mahadev manifests in many different places as the protector and the witness of the pastime places, right? In Nandagan, he takes the form of the hill. There are many beautiful pastimes where he goes to see baby Krishna with Mother Jashoda, and she will deny him. But this is a place in the area of Nandagan. You see, extraordinarily beautiful. It doesn't usually look so orderly when we go because devotees cramming everywhere and everything like that, trying to water. But you can see cows. His son Ganesh is there, Parvati, right? And we oftentimes will take prasad there. Very tranquil, very beautiful, beautiful place. And we always honor Mahadev as, Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu, because he manifests in Vrindavan as the protector of the pastime places, the protector of the devotees, and the friends of Rupa and Sanatan, taking opportunity to visit them, because he's there eternally. And when they are there, he visits them, and they have lovely, lovely Harikatha. So now I'll stop. Okay. Haribol, Haribol. I think, yeah, I did it. I'm a
Jai
good
Jai
boy.
Hari Bol. Pranams. Such beautiful Katha Maharaj. It's amazing. That place, I remember the kheer that you were mentioning. So tasty.
Yeah. And
Oh,
everybody would get, it would just be a little pot, but somehow everybody would get a spoonful, a handful, Everybody would be
yes,
so,
yes.
and then they have
I
kunds
go
around.
twice.
Wash. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're
they gave
greedy.
me one time, I ate, and then the Baba called me again and gave me more.
And the kunds
Yeah.
around there are also places of pastimes. Yeah, so beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful. And
beautiful.
it's
So
being,
much to talk about
and
that, not
now
enough time.
got a parking lot, it's got paved walkways. So many people come there now and take the special blessings of Rupa and Sanatan.
Yeah.
So don't get me started. I'm going to stop talking and we can go on to the speakers.
Okay, so now we go back to Bhaktivinoda Triandi Maharaj.
Haribol.
We're gonna visit Pavana-sarovara. So please, Maharaj, enliven us.
Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhavaka Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Ki Jai Shri Rude Ki Jai Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nandagaon Ki Jai Go Premanandi. Thank you, Vaikanis Maharaj, for such clear, beautiful description of Ter-kadamba. Very, very close to Jabat. Jabat is 3 kilometers from Nandagaon. So now we've come to Nandagaon itself from Ter-kadamba. We've walked around. We're going to circumambulate round to the left now. We're not going straight up to the Nanda-bhavana on the top of the hill. We're going to walk around to the left, and we'll get actually onto the Kamyavan road. There's a road which goes out to Kamyavan from here, if you're familiar with the area. Then along that Kamyavan road a little bit, still in the shade of the hill of Nandishwara, Nandagaon, then we come to Pavana-sarovara. So in Pavana-sarovara, recently it's been refurbished very nicely. It's a very, very deep kund. This is the entranceway. If we can have a shot of the actual kund, it'll be nice. But this is the entranceway. Yes, it's a huge kund. Krishna would come here regularly with his cows on this side where we're looking now. And there's slopes that go into the kunds now, just like in Radha-kund, you'll see buffalo slopes where cows can actually go in. Cows and buffaloes can go in and bathe in the summertime into the kunds. So also the gopas, and the gopas would bathe on this side where we're looking from now, and the gopis would bathe on the opposite bank across the kund, across the lake itself, the sarovar itself. So this Pavana-sarovara is specifically built by the husband of Vishaka. Vishaka's husband is called Pavan, and he's built this sarovar to facilitate his darling wife, Vishaka, and to facilitate Krishna and his pastime. There are something like about 200 or more odd kunds around Nandagaon. Many of them have fallen into disrepair completely, but many of them are still there. And we can sometimes go around and take darshan of them. But this Pavana-sarovara is one of the biggest ones. It's very, very beautiful. Generally, all the devotees bathe here because it's so clean and deep, and it's a very nice atmosphere. So then just behind where that picture was before, there's the Bhajang Kutia of Sanatan Goswami. We were just hearing that Rupa Goswami had his place in Ter-kadamba. which is about 1.5 kilometers from where we're standing now. It was Ter-kadamba is halfway to Javat, which is about 3 kilometers from Nandagrama. So it's nice to know the areas where we are. So now Sanatana Goswami had his bhajan kutia here, and many pastimes connected there, where he would be reflecting on the wonderful pastimes of Krishna in Nanda-bhavana, Krishna in his home. So Nanda-bhavana is, we've described yesterday, when the demons of Braj, the Putana, Keshi, not Keshi, Uddhava, Trinavrata, Shakatasura, when they were harassing so much in Gokul, then all the Brijbasis moved back to their original ancestral home here in Nandagrama. This isn't the pastime place of Krishna's childhood pastimes. This is the pastime mostly in his Poganda Lila, his older years. He has all his childhood pastimes in Gokul, and now he has his later years here in Nandagrama. And it's described that Mahadeva, Sanket, he approached Krishna and wanted to do service for Krishna. And Krishna told him to manifest a hill here in Nandagrama. So this hill is called Nandishwara, the controller of the bull Nandi. So this is Nandagram, Nandagaon or Nandagram, and this is directly Lord Shiva's head. He's there with this beautiful village on top, just like in Varshana. There is the Brahma Parvat. Brahma manifests his 4 heads in Varshana, we'll hear in a couple of days. But this is Shivji. So yes, this is Mahadev's Gopeshwar Mahadev here in Nandagrama. From Pavana-sarovara, I haven't finished with Pavana-sarovara yet, but in Pavana-sarovara, there is Sanatana Goswami's bhajan kutia. And just in front of Sanatana Goswami's bhajan kutia, there's a Kinshana Krishnadas Babaji's samadhi. We remember Srila Krishnadas Babaji, dear friend of Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and he accompanied Prabhupada on many preaching engagements. He was like a siddha. Prabhupada loved his company. He would chant constantly. Remarkable personality, absolutely remarkable. Many of our devotees, the older devotees, they knew him. So he has his samadhi here, just beside Pavana-sarovara. On the other side, as I've already described, is the bhajan kutia of Sanatana Goswami. And he would reside here very comfortably. And as we heard yesterday, that Sanatana Goswami, he began to write his Brihat Bhagavatamrita almost immediately. So he would be engaged in that seva while he was here in writing that Brihat Bhagavatamrita. And in the company, many times, of Srila Rupa Goswami, because they're very close to each other. And also Asisesvara Mahadev is there simultaneously, as Nandishwar, the actual hill of Nandagrama, is Shivji himself. So Sanatana Goswami would also live very close to Gopeshwar Mahadev. Actually, okay, so now we're going to take the back steps up to the top of Nanda-bhavana. There's 2 sets of steps here. You can go from the front side, which faces on to Uddhava-kyari, up very steep steps. Some of these steps are claimed to be the original steps that were there 5,000 years ago. So this history goes back 5,000 years, of course, we're talking. But on the backside of Nandishwar Hill is the very broad steps that go up to Nanda-bhavana. So then, after climbing up those very broad steps, we come here to the front entrance. There's 3 or 4 gates which lead into actually Nanda-bhavana. It's a very opulent place even today. But we can imagine Srila Jiva Goswami, he's given a very beautiful description of Nanda-bhavana, how there were many restrooms, there were many bedrooms, there were bhojan layas, places to take their prasad, etc. And Mother Yashoda's go-downs, her storerooms, etc. There were many, many. Actually, Jiva Goswami gives a whole description inside this palace of the king of Braj, Nanda-baba. And I described the pastime yesterday, how Nanda-baba, even though he's the middle son, but he was selected by the other four brothers to be the reigning king, so to speak. And they had a beautiful ceremony to install him like that. So this is Nanda-bhavan. And we're sitting now right on the very top of Nanda-bhavan. And you can look out, you can see a huge vista all around. It's very beautiful, beautiful landscape. And across to the north west, you can see Vrindakund is there about 2 kilometers away. And behind Vrindakund is Rohini-kund. And behind Rohini-kund are the goshalas of Nanda-baba. So you can actually get a bird's eye view of the whole of Nanda-baba's kingdom, so to speak, where he would have his lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of cows grazing and accommodated in their various goshalas. So this would have been a very busy, wonderful place. Yeah, this is the village today. This is from the top of Nanda-bhavan. But there are other vistas. It's hard to actually see from this picture, but there would be it would be crowded in with cow pens, etc. This appreciation of Krishna with the cows, and today we're celebrating Gopastami, which is going to be described later. But we can just get that sense of the predominance of the cows when we're here. And when you're in Nanda-bhavan, if you look across to the north, there's a huge water tank, actually, and underneath that water tank, there's a massive footprint of Krishna. It's a very large footprint. It's because Krishna, of course, 5,000 years ago, was 15, 16 feet tall. He wasn't like we are now. This was in Dwapara Yuga. So their age and their height was much greater and higher. So there's a footprint there underneath a very large water tank. And there's many other footprints of cows, etc., around in this area. So Nanda-baba, he would reside here with Mother Yashoda, and they would take care of their darling Lala, and Baladev and Rohini Ma would stay here. And so many pastimes are taking place here. Every day, Sri Radhika, she would come from Javat to this very place. This is the Bhavan. This is on top now. But even today, if we go inside this complex, they have very large kitchens. They have large eating halls, etc. There's a remnant of the greatness of this palace is still prominent today. We can see inside. They have beautiful paintings around the wall inside. But Sri Radhika would come daily and cook for Krishna here in Nanda-bhavan. And Mother Yashoda would embrace her so affectionately. And then Radhika would cook on dozens and dozens of open ovens and not even be feeling any inconvenience at all from the heat, etc. Whereas a moment's separation from Krishna, her whole body would just become so heated from separation. But so many pastimes are packed into this wonderful, wonderful Nanda-bhavan. This is a very nice picture we've got here on the screen. So there's Krishna is on the left and Baladev is on the right next to Nanda-baba. So this is Krishna next to Mother Yashoda, and Baladev is next to Nanda-baba. So these are very beautiful deities inside Nanda-bhavan that we're going to have darshana today. You step into a small courtyard just inside the temple, and this is almost like you're inside the altar room practically. On the other side of Mother Yashoda is Sri Radhika, and on the other side of Nanda-baba is Sridham and Madhumangal, these two other personalities. There were all the cowherd boys would be there with Krishna so much of the time here. All of these pastimes are what we reflect upon while we're sitting here. When we would come with my Gurudev, Krishna Das, he would always sing, what would he sing? Namami Nanda Nandana. We would sing this bhajan and many other bhajans in the courtyard and dance very vigorously. And my Gurudev would begin to describe some of the pastimes that were taking place. But time is limited today, but just basically an appreciation of the environment of where we have come, which is what I'm trying to share today. And the atmosphere and the moods and the unlimited pastimes. I said yesterday how that Narayan Bhatta Goswami, he wrote 60,000 pastimes. My Gurudev has described that wasn't, that was just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. So every step that Krishna took was like a wonderful pastime. So in this place, Krishna, he sits with his sakas every day. He takes breakfast. Mother Yashoda has cooked hundreds of preparations for him and all the sakas. And Nanda-baba sits with them. And Baladev and Radharani would be contributing with the different preparations. But it would be a great festival 2 times a day in their breakfast time and in their evening time. In the daytime, Krishna would be out grazing with the cows, and Mother Yashoda again would prepare a huge feast. But these feasts would all take place here in Nanda-bhavana. So we remember all of these very intimate, very beautiful pastimes. And then from here, now we're going to go down the other side to which we came up. We came up a very broad set of steps from Pavana-sarovara, and now we're going to cross over the hill and go down the other side. And the first place we'll come to, this is in the direction of Uddhava-kyari, and we're going to come to Lalita-kunda. Lalita-kunda is at the bottom of the Nandishwar hill and across the road. This is Lalita-kunda off to the left here. This is Lalita-kunda. It's a very beautiful kund. That seems a little big. I'm not sure if it's the right one, but anyway, it seems smaller. Is that Lalita-kunda? Okay, so they must have expanded since I was last there. That new red stone looks like it's been recently renovated. As Vaikanis Maharaj was saying, many of these holy places have been renovated recently, which is very inspiring for the devotees to see that they're maintaining a nice facility for the devotees to come. So now in this kund of Lalita-kunda, of course, Lalita Sakhi, this is where her kund is. And there was a pastime described here that Lalita Sakhi, she's stringing a garland for Krishna. And she strings the garland and then she holds it up to measure it. And she's not satisfied, so she discards it and she starts another garland. And then again, she's not satisfied and she strings yet another garland. And she does this 5 or 6 times. And Narada Rishi, he's standing close by observing this. And then he comes forward, he inquires from Lalita Sakhi, oh, what are you doing? Why do you keep discarding these garlands? And then she says, because I'm making a garland for Krishna, and it doesn't seem to be the right size each time. So Narad, he tells Lalita Sakhi, well, why don't you just go and call Krishna? He's really close by, and have him come and sit here directly, and then you can measure it up directly. Now, just a few hours ago, Krishna had told Sri Radhika, beware of Narad. He's here today. Narad is very tricky. He's always trying to mix things up between husband and wife, or lover and beloved, or different relationships. So just beware. He'd already told Sri Radhika this. Now, Narad is suggesting to Lalita that she goes and brings Krishna to sit personally to measure the garland. So Lalita quickly does that and brings Krishna here to her kund. And she measures the garland nicely and it fits Krishna perfectly. And she's very satisfied. But then Narad says, Narad is still there. He's saying, oh, you promised that you would show me you swinging on a swing with Lalita Sakhi. He's saying to Krishna. So Krishna understands that Narad is trying to perform his tricks. So, but anyway, he says, okay, And then Narad says, look, there's a swing really close by. Why don't you and Lalita Saki sit on the swing, and the other Sakis, they can push you. So this beautiful swing here, this is at Lalita-kunda. So Lalita and Krishna, with his fresh garland that Lalita's just made, are swinging on this Julan stali, and all the gopis are singing beautiful melodies, bhajans. And then immediately, while this is going on, almost instantly, Narad comes to Radhika, who is very close by. Radhika was scheduled to have been here by this time, but she got delayed. And then Narad, he starts singing that Krishna and Lalita are swinging together, and they look such a beautiful couple. They look so beautiful together. Radhika, she can't believe her ears. She smiles broadly and thinks this cannot be happening. And then Narad says, well, you just go and have a look. You can see from here, just move a little bit forward and you can see yourself, have darshan of them. So Radhika, she comes forward and she sees Krishna and Lalita on a swing, very happily swinging with all the Sakis pushing, etc. Radhika, of course, becomes incensed. She becomes completely in man. And Krishna becomes aware of this and immediately has to come down and run across to pacify Shri Radhika. But he's able to pacify her quite simply because he's warned her previously of Narad's tricks, etc. So this pastime, very sweet pastime, this happens here in Lalita-kunda. So every day we come here, or every day on the parikrama, we come to this kund and we appreciate this pastime in particular. Now, from here, we're going to come out of the gate of Lalita-kunda. We're going to walk along the road, the main road, and on our right will be Nandagam, will be the hill of Nandishwara. And across to our left, perhaps about 1.5 kilometers through a very flat area, country with trees, etc., small shrubby trees. Previously, this was called Uddhava-kyari or Kadamba-kyari, which means huge forest of kadambas. This was a massive forest of kadambas. And there's practically no kadambas left there at all today. But now we're going to walk through here and we're going to come to Uddhava-kyari. And our wonderful Sripad Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj is going to describe to us the nature of this most special stali. So Nanda-gaon ki jai, Pavana-sarovara ki jai, Sanatan Goswami ki jai, Krishnadas Babaji ki jai, Lalita-kunda ki jai. Oh, I didn't mention also one other small place. There's Nanda-bhavana, which we also go to. Then there's the place of, what's it called? Haubalau. So I think, Haubalau. I'm not sure if how much time do I have, Nitai?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Okay, so just before we actually reach Uddhava-kyari, this is all in the same proximity. It's very close together. So just before we come here, there's Nanda-bhavana on our left at the foot of Nandishwar Hill. And there Nanda-baba would come and have many meetings with his elder brother. And the famous meeting is when the elder Gopas, they come and they demand that Nanda-baba treats his son more like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can such a small child pick up a mountain if he's not God? And they very seriously try to influence Nanda-baba towards an appreciation of his son being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nanda-baba, he laughs and laughs. And he says, how can God be someone who steals, who cries, who gets hungry, weeps, becomes angry, breaks things, steals butter? So many naughty things that Krishna does. Nanda-baba starts relating them. And by his sweet descriptions of Krishna, then the Gopas, they become covered once again by Yogamaya to appreciate that, yes, Krishna is simply a Gopa like us. He's simply one of our cowherd relatives. He's not God at all. So they come under that covering of Yogamaya. Nanda-baba's Vatsalya Bhav can never, ever be compromised by any amount of Aishwarya, exactly as we heard yesterday about Mother Yashoda. So this Vatsalya Prem is exhibited in this pastime at Nanda-bhavana. And close by, there's another place called Haubalau. where Mother Yashoda used to try and frighten Krishna with a ghost or a phantom that lived in this area. And one time Krishna demanded to actually see that ghost. And then Mother Yashoda, she produces some carvings that are there still today. So Krishna became very intimidated, and he would come home at the proper time to take the meals that Mother Yashoda had prepared for him. So these two pastime places are right at this place, as I said, is loaded with pastimes all around. It's just saturated. The atmosphere is full of these very, very, very sweet childhood pastimes, not Balya Leela or Kumara Leela, not the childhood Leelas, but when Krishna is a little bit older. So all these pastimes are there. But now we're going to come to an incredible place of Uddhava-kyari, where the history here is absolutely divine. So now I'll pass over to Pujabhat Ashram Maharaj, and he will describe Uddhava-kyari. Vanchakalpa Rubyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Nanda-bhavana, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namo.
Jai Maharaj, such beautiful, beautiful narrations. And yeah, it's like being there. I can imagine Nanda-baba laughing with all the assembly of devotees, everybody doing an intervention on Nanda-baba. You should treat your son better. And Nanda-baba is like, yeah, he's not God. It's so amazing.
Many years we would do a play there. Usually we'd have Padma Maharaj playing Nanda Maharaj, because he's big white beard and all that. Nami Maharaj would be there, and me and Sri Dandi Maharaj. Sometimes we do that play, and all the devotees would, oh, there he is. There's our man, our Ashram Maharaj. Okay, I'm going to be quiet. I got to give him his time.
No problem.
Adibo, Adibo.
Okay, so now we're going to pass the mic to Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj, who's going to delight us with these beautiful narrations of Uddhava-kyari and the kata, the pastime of Gopastami. Such a beautiful pastime. So please, without further ado, Maharaj, mic is all yours. You got 30 minutes.
You can hear me?
Yes, perfect sound.
Okay. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshu Mitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha Vanchakalpaturubhischa Kripa Sandhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. So, Pujapad Vaikanas Maharaj, he was speaking about Ter-kadamba. And I was there just 2 days ago. It started raining, so we couldn't do the full parikram of Nandakhirak. But it's just amazing how that devotee that he was describing, the Baba who's staying there, he's still there. And he's expanded on beautifying Ter-kadamba. I remember going there like 30, 40 years ago, and it was pretty much still forest, and he had just a little bit. And Gurudev would encourage devotees, especially at this place, that you should give him, that he's been living here in the forest, that dacoits were here, nobody would come here, and he stayed there, and whatever penny he gets, whatever little money he gets, he only uses it for the project. And the place is amazing. It's amazing. It's got like a really nice entrance, beautiful gate, but it's not palatial, but it's just so nice. And then I asked the pujari who was there, I said, who helped do this? ISKCON came and said, no, this is Baba, that whatever he gets, he utilizes for this project, and he's doing more. And the Baba was sitting there, and he's got like long white hair now. Because a few years ago, I went to see him, and I said, hey, Baba, look, you're looking old now, huh? He looked and said, so are you. So today, at Ter-kadamba, then the local devotees, residents of Nandagrama, then they have very big festival commemorating Gopastami. So there are two Gopastamis. There's one when Krishna, he goes and he takes care of he first takes out the calves, his Poganda years, and then there's later when he takes out cows. So it's described by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami in Vraj Vilas Stab, that little Gopal, he wants to go out and he wants to take care of the calves and the cows, but Mother Yashoda, she won't allow. And Nanda-baba, he's sitting in the assembly hall and he's speaking with his friends, and he's speaking about when he used to go out taking care of the cows. Now he's 50 years plus. He doesn't go out anymore, but he just talks about the good old days. And little Gopal is, I want to go. I want to take care of the cows. And Mother Yashoda said, no, there's no way you're coming out of my sight. So then he goes to his uncle, Upananda Baba. And then he starts to plead with Upananda Baba that please, you speak to my mother and father on my behalf that I can go, I can take care of the calves and the cows. And then Upananda goes to his younger brother and he says, let him go, let him go. He really wants to go, so you let him go. So finally, Mother Yashoda, she relents and she's following Krishna as he's going out, and first he's taking out the calves, but she won't let him out of her sight. And Krishna's saying, oh Maya, please let me go, let me go. But she's following, Mother Rohini's following, all the other cowherd ladies are there, his nursemaid Ambika, she's also there, Nanda-baba, the whole village is there following as Krishna's trying to go out and perform his duty of taking care. And a whole long discussion goes on. We don't have time. And finally, he tells his mother, he said, if you don't, he says, oh, so he's going out. And then she said, I'm going to send you some lunch. And he says, but I won't take it if I don't hear that you've gone back and you've gone and you've also had your meals. So then as he's going, then Mother Yashoda says, Dauji, you don't let him out of your sight. Because Gopal, he's very fickle-minded. He's always running here, running there. He's looking to see this. What is this? What is that? What is this? Says, Subal, you be in front. And then another cowherd boy, you be in the back. You be in the right. Another, you be in the left. And make sure he doesn't come out of your sight. And then in this way, then Krishna, he starts to go with the calves and the cowherd boys. And Mother Yashoda, she's just stuck like a statue. And seeing him going, then she loses consciousness. And the cowherd ladies, the gopis, elderly gopis, then they have to take her physically, bring her back to her house. So when he's older and he's taking care of the cows, then it's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hitam sarat sochadalam padmaka sugandhina nyapishad varinavatam sago gopalako chuta. That in the autumn season now, Kartik month, Hitam sarat sochadalam, that sochadalam, that the waters are very, very clean. Hitam sarat sochadalam padmaka sugandhina, that the lotus flowers are blossoming, coming out of the waters like Yamuna, Kushum Sarovar. Itam sart sojadalam padmaka sugan nyavasad perinava tam sago gopalakochita. And in this way, Krishna is going into the forest. So as Krishna is going into the forest, that not only does he have his mother, his father, the elder gopas and gopis, but also hiding behind, the gopis are there watching. And Krishna, he knows. So then it's explained that Krishna, he throws a glance at Srimati Radhika, and Srimati Radhika similarly throws a glance at Krishna. And it's like they're throwing arrows of their glances. And as these arrows of glances of Krishna and Radhika, they come together, then they cross paths, and then they enter into each other's hearts. Krishna's glance, he's asking permission. Please give me permission to go to the forest and we'll meet later on. And then Radhika, she's giving permission, and that glance is entering into his heart. And in this way, he enters into the forest. Shri Shukadev Goswami, he goes on to say, Kushumita Vanaraji, Shushmihi Bringa, Dvijakula Gusa Sarasarin Mahidam, Madhupati Avagaya Charayana Gaha, Sahapashu Palabala Chupuja Behenu. So, as Krishna's entering into the forest, then his friends who are aware of all that's going on, the pastimes that are going on with those in Vatsalya and the pastimes that are going on with Krishna and the gopis in Madhura Bhav. And they're making fun of Krishna as Krishna's crying in front of his mother and saying, please let me go. Then they're going to Krishna, oh, please let me go, please let me go. And also making fun because they know that here, that he is coming to Vrindavan forest for his own pleasure. So we, on this day, Gopastami, then we pray to Nandagrama, where Krishna is performing these sweet pastimes eternally, and where these pastimes are eternally going on. And we pray that may we be able to catch the mood, the bhav of the associates of Krishna in these pastimes, especially the bhav of those who we want to enter into pastimes in serving Krishna. Seva sadaka rupena, siddha rupena chatrahi. That we hear the pastimes, but we should hear the pastimes with the mood and the aspiration of what role that we aspire to play in these pastimes. So now we come to Uddhava-kyari. That Uddhava-kyari, this is known as also Vishaka Kunj. This is forest of Shri Vishaka Saki. That here, multitude of pastimes, very, very sweet Madhura pastimes, they take place. It's such a special place. Like Vaikanas Maharaj was explaining how Gurudev would come here with his godbrothers, Srila Trivikram Maharaj, also Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj. They would come and they would roll in the dust and they would cry here. That in Uddhava-kyari, then Gurudev, they used to come, not so many devotees, and they would take buses, local buses, to come. And there they had the luxury of being few devotees, like-minded, absorbed in bhav, and they were able to freely manifest their moods here. So this is a place of meeting, Mahasambhog, and separation, Mahavipalamba, of the highest level. That we know in Ujjvala Nilamani, it's explained the different moods, the sthai bhav of the resonance of Raj, and specifically Srimati Radhika, that you have Prem, Sneha, Man, Rag, Anurag. Anurag intensifies, then you have Mahabhav. In Mahabhav, you have Rudha Bhav, Adhirudha Bhav. In Adhirudha Bhav, you have Modan, Mohan, and Madanakya Mahabhav. That the highest state in separation is Mohan, Mohan Bhav. And in meeting is Madan, Madanakya Mahabhav. So here in Uddhava-kyari, that the highest moods of Srimati Radhika, they manifest here. That is explained that in this place, then Ras dance it takes place. And here, Krishna, along with Srimati Radhika and the gopis, they would be engaged in ras dance and manifesting so many different moods. Uddhava, he has explained. Let me try and get verse. Nayam Sriyonga Utnitantarate Prashadham Swayoshitam Nalina Ganda Richam Kuto Rasotsave Sabujadanda Grihita Kanta Ladachisham Ya Udagad Vrajavalabhinam. That when Krishna, he was dancing with the gopis in Ras Lila, this is Uddhava, he's speaking at this spot, he's speaking this verse. The gopis were embraced by the arms of Shyam Sundar, that this transcendental favor that was bestowed by him was never bestowed even upon the goddess of fortune or even the consorts in the spiritual world. Indeed, there was never such a thing even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, whose bodily luster and aroma resembled the lotus flower. And what to speak of worldly women, who are very beautiful according to material estimation. So Uddhav is remembering that here in this spot, that Shyam Sundar, he has performed Ras Lila. And when Krishna, he left Vrindavan and he went to Mathura, then the Brijbasis, they were following Krishna. They were crying, Govinda Damo Daramadaveti, Govinda Damo Daramadaveti, Govinda Damo Daramadaveti, Govinda Damo Daramadaveti. O Govinda, you who give pleasure to the cows, the calves, the land of Vrindavan, the gops, the gopis, that how will you leave us in this situation? Krishna is on the chariot, Akrura is in the front, Balaram is with him, and as the chariot is about to leave, the gopis have run out of the kunjas, and they're surrounding the chariots, and many of the gopis have fainted, including Srimati Radhika. Those gopis who were conscious, then they're crying like this, O Damodar, you who have been bound by the rope of love and affection of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda is there fainted. The other ladies are also crying. All of Raj is there crying. And what to speak of the rope of love and affection of Mother Yashoda, you who have been bound by the love and affection of Srimati Radhika. But look, Srimati Radhika has fainted. Is this how you return your love? O Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune, will you make us all unfortunate like this? And Krishna, he's also overwhelmed. His heart is palpitating. He's crying, but still he gives motion to Akrura, that Akrura should carry on. And Akrura is meandering around the gopis who are strewn on the ground, as some gopis are holding on to the chariot, some are holding on to the reins, some are throwing themselves in front, but still the chariot, it goes on. And those gopis who are conscious are following behind. It's stated, Gurudev, he states, that they followed up to this point, Uddhava-kyari, and then the chariot, it picked up speed and it continued, and then it became smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then they could not see anymore. That this place at that time was forest. It was dense forest. and the gopis, they stayed here. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he explains that they stayed and so many different anubhavs would manifest from their body. One anubhav, Lila, that they would perform the pastimes of Krishna whilst he was in Vrindavan. One devotee would take the part of Krishna. Another would take the part of Kaliya. And in this way, they would just, in madness, they would perform these pastimes. Day and night would pass, and they were not cognizant of day and night. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj said that they did not eat, they did not sleep. They just went into a state of vimohan, bewilderment. They were completely bewildered. Said that they became so skinny that their ring for their pinky, their little finger, could now fit as a bracelet around the wrist. And in this way, in this separation mood, staying in this place, this is why we say that the highest meeting, Mahasambhog, is there. And here, they're manifesting the highest separation. So 3 months have passed, and Krishna has sent Uddhav to Vrindavan. And first Uddhav, he goes and he meets with Nanda-baba and Mother Yashoda. And after meeting with Nanda-baba and Mother Yashoda, in the morning time, he takes his bath, and when he's coming, the gopis, then they see somebody coming. First they see a chariot, and they say that is the same chariot that Akrura came with when he took Krishna. Why has he come? And they're crying and crying and crying. They're feeling some heat in their heart, heat that this person has come back. Why has he come back? And then one gopi says, oh, because now they want to take us and want to offer our hearts as pinda, because now Kamsa has been killed. So they want to make some offering. And in this state of madness, then they're speaking. Then they see somebody coming who resembles Krishna perfectly. He looks just like Krishna. He's the same height, same complexion. He even has Krishna's pitambra, his yellow shawl. Krishna has given this to Uddhav, and he has Krishna's garland. So even the aroma of Krishna's coming. The only thing is that he doesn't have any peacock feather, he doesn't have any flute. But by nature of prema, because their prema is directed only towards Shyam Sundar, Yoga Maya completely protects them, that they will have no feelings towards this Uddhav, this person who totally resembles Krishna. Even though in a state of madness, they'll embrace a tamal tree and thinking it's Krishna. Radharani will chastise a cloud thinking it's Krishna. But now the exact replica of Krishna is in front of them, and they know this is not Krishna. He looks just like Krishna. He has the aroma of Krishna, everything, but they know this is not Krishna. And instinctively they know that this must be a message of Krishna. So then they take him to their secret place. And where is that? That is Uddhava-kyari, or Vishaka-kunj. And there in Vishaka-kunj, Srila Shukadeva Goswami is explaining, Iti gopya hi govinde, gatavakaya manasa, Krishna dute samayate, Uddhave chaktat lokika, Gayantya priya kamani, Rudantyas chagatarya, Tasya samsmrita samsmritya, Yani kaishora balyayo. That they lose their shyness. And in the ecstasy of praying, then so many anubhavs start to manifest. It says, Iti gopi govinda gatavakaya manasa, that they start to glorify, they start to speak about the pastimes of Krishna. Their minds become completely absorbed. Gata vak, with their words, they're speaking. And in speaking, then they lose their sense. And even though they're very shy village girls and there's a stranger there, but they completely lose themselves and they start to act in a very uninhibited way in front of Uddhava. Then Uddhava, he notices, Kachin Madhukram Drisva, Dyanti Krishna Sangamam, Priya Prapastam Dutam, Kapayvedam Abravit. He notices that there's one gopi who's laying on a bed of flowers. Says one of the gopis, while meditating on her previous association with Krishna, saw a honeybee. And then Uddhava, he understands that this is Srimati Radhika who I've heard about. He's heard about Nanda-baba, Mother Yashoda, and he has gone and he's had their darshan. And they're praying. Though in Dwarka, he is considered the greatest of Krishna's devotees, his cousin, his friend, his counselor. But now in Vraj, he understands that the prema of Nanda-baba and Mother Yashoda is completely beyond. Gurudev would say, just like if trying to fathom the top of Mount Everest and looking up, and then his hat falls off. But then he comes and then he meets with the gopis. And then they go into another state of ecstasy with the Nanda-baba and Mother Yashoda. Their bhav will not enter into that mahabhav. So with the gopis, then he experiences mahabhav and he becomes overwhelmed. But now he sees Srimati Radhika and he knows that she is the crest jewel of all the gopis for 5 minutes. So then immediately he goes to touch the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika because he understands that my life will be perfect just to get a speck of dust from her lotus feet. That this will be more than I can fathom. But just as he's going to touch her lotus feet, then there's a bumblebee that's buzzing. And that bumblebee is buzzing towards the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika also. And then Srimati Radhika, with anger, she says, Madhupakitava bandhu, mas prisangin sapatnya, kucha vilita mala kumkum smashabinaha, bahatu madhupatistan maninam prasadam, yadusadashi vidyam yasyadutastandri, Madhupakitava bandhu. That, oh, you Kaitava, you cheetah, and you Bandhu, you friend of Madhupa, that person who's expert at tasting honey from the ladies of Mathura. Madhupa Kitava Bandhu, mas prisangim sapatnya, do not touch my feet. You have no right. And then Uddhava, he's thinking, or the bumblebee is buzzing, and then Srimati Radhika, in her state of ecstasy, she's hearing, do I have no right to touch your lotus feet? And Uddhava is thinking the same thing. I've come all the way from Mathura. Please be merciful to me. Let me touch your lotus feet. She says, Madhupakitava bandhu mas prisanginspa kucha vilulita mala. He says that you have no shame, that you are a friend of that cheetah Krishna, and your whiskers are red because you've gone to taste the honey from the flower garland that's on Krishna's chest. But that flower garland was when he was embracing the ladies of Mathura. Then the kumkum from their breasts, it came on that flower garland, and then you went to get the honey from the flower garland, and then that red kumkum from their breasts has come on your whiskers. And now with the kumkum from the breasts of other ladies, you want to touch my lotus feet and put the kumkum from the breasts of other ladies on. You rascal, do not touch me. And Uddhava, he stops. Says, Sakridadara sudam swam, mohinim payayitva, sumanasa eva sajas, chatadesman bhavadri, paricharati tat padapadma nupadma, ityapi batarita, chitahi utamashloka jalpayi. She says that Krishna, he is a very wicked person. Because Uddhava is thinking that why you're speaking of Krishna in such a harsh way. And the bumblebee is buzzing. Zzz, why are you speaking of him in such a harsh way? Srimati Radhi says, why? Because he is a very wicked person. So this state, I forgot to say, she's in the state of Mohan Mahabhav. And in Mohan, in separation, high state of separation, then you have different aspects of Mohan. You have Udgurna. Udgurna is when like a volcano erupts. And Radharani, she's speaking in a very crazy way. She runs outside and she sees the cloud. And she says, no, I don't want to see anything black. And then she runs inside and she says, cover everything black. I don't want to see. But here, this is called Chitra Jalpa. And Chitra Jalpa has 10 different divisions. So in the different verses that Shukadeva Goswami has presented, then it's presenting the different types of Chitra Jalpa, Prajalpa, Parijalpa, Pralalpa, like this. So she's saying that he's so wicked that, oh, my time's up, that after making us drink the enchanting nectar of his lip only once, what will happen for anybody who drinks the nectar of Krishna's lips? That person will be Amar. They will be immortal. He said, but now he left us. And he left us and we would like to die. But we can't die because we drank the nectar from his lips. And that nectar, that will keep us alive. He says he quickly abandoned us. How is it then that the goddess Padma willingly serves his lotus feet? Alas, the answer must certainly be that her mind has been stolen away by his deceitful words. That Krishna is so deceitful that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary here, he's saying that Srimati Radhika is saying that, oh, you bumblebee, you black fellow, talking to the bumblebee, but also speaking to Uddhav, that he is a very deceitful person. He spoke very deceitful words to us, and he left us. What did he say? Napare ham niravaja samjam sosati vicham vidayusapiva yomambajam durjaya geha shrikala tam richutava patiyatu sadhana. Said, oh Radhike, he's speaking to the gopis, but really speaking to Radha. That, oh Radha, that I cannot repay you. Even I have the life of Lord Brahma, I cannot repay you. That I have left only to show the glories of your love. This is why I left you. Radhika is saying he's a cheater. He's saying that, but in the meantime, he's in Mathura. He's with the ladies of Mathura, and he's enjoying. So my time is up. So Uddhav, upon witnessing and hearing here in Uddhava-kyari, the Mohan Bhav of Srimati Radhika, he says, Asam aho charana renu jusham aham syam. Vrindavane kim api goma latoshadinam. Yadustujam swajanam ayapatacha hiva. Beju mukundam padabim shutabi varingyam. That the gopis of Vrindavan, Uddhava is saying, they've given up the association of their husbands. They've given up the so-called sons and other family members who are very difficult to give up. And but they've given up very easily. They have thrown all these relationships in the depths of the Yamuna. that they have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter on lotus feet of Sri Krishna, which one should search by all Vedic knowledge. Uddhava says, oh, let me be fortunate enough to be that he knows that he cannot have this position of being a gopi. So he's praying that when the gopis, they're running in their intoxicated state of Mahadeva, and they run off of the road, that they may run through the bushes, through the grass, creepers, herbs. He says, let me take birth as one of those bushes, creepers, herbs. And in this way, then the dust from the lotus feet of one gopi, Shrimati Radhika, may trample me. And then I will be able to at least experience the ecstasy of her mood, even though I cannot experience the ecstasy of the position. So this place, Uddhava-kyari, is place of all of Radharani and Krishna's topmost moods, whether in meeting or in separation. So this is like jewel of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Shri Uddhava-kyari ki jai.
Jai, Hari Hari Bo.
Nanda-bhavana. Vaishnavibhyo. Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Jai.
About Gurudev, one day, one life, we'll be able to realize and enter into these pastimes. We should hear Harikatha and do parikram like this. When will that day be mine?
Oh, Maharaj, thank you so much. That was such a beautiful description of the pastime. I remember that sometimes there is this enactment of the pastime that they do dramas, and it's just beautiful to see Gurudev, how he's tears coming from his eyes when he's listening Radhika chastising the bumblebee. Anyhow, Maharaj, it's such an honor to hear these glorifications today on the pastime itself. Everybody's given such jewels that if we're lucky enough, we will be able to collect and keep in our hearts. So thank you, Maharaj. Now we are going towards Sanket and Prema-sarovara. So I don't know if I can see Sudadit Maharaj in the chat.
There you go. You can take it.
Oh, here
Haribol.
he is, Maharaj.
No. Here is his imposter. He's out on parikrama today. Can you hear me?
They haven't arrived.
And they got stuck in traffic, this and that and the other. I mean, there's a million people around. So he's with a parikrama party. So I'm going to make an offering to Sanket, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and
Prema-sarovara.
Yeah.
Okay, Maharaj. The mic is all yours. 30 minutes.
Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Vidadare Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namah. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So we're continuing our parikrama. This was such an ecstatic offering by our beloved Sripad Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj. Uddhava-kyari is one of the most special places. By the way, if you ever visit there, there's a Baba there, and he's living all alone for many years, and my Gurudev would always favor him. So drop him $1 or $2. He has no other backup. He's actually encroached on the land. It belongs to the Forestry Commission, and he's built a little temple there for glorification of Uddhav, and he's put a number of ashrams there. He's even put a Western toilet there. And this Nanda-bhavana that we have here is an extraordinary, clean, beautiful place. It's very attractive environment, but he's there all alone for many, many, many years, just like that Baba in Ter-kadamba. So not an easy task for sure. So my Gurudev would always favor him. So if it's possible, when we visit there, we can offer him something also. So Uddhava-kyari, most sacred, my Gurudev would love this place so much. He would go into moods of deep, deep ecstasy there. But now from Uddhava-kyari, we're going to walk out to the main road again, and we're going to go, we can go back on the buses, or we can walk a little bit. We can walk perhaps a couple of miles. We used to walk when my Gurudev was here. One time, the whole Prema-party, we were camping in Nandagrama, and we walked up, we were camping in Varshana, and we walked from Varshana to Nandagrama. I can remember Shamrani was there, so many devotees were there many years ago, 96, 97, and we all walked from Varshana to Nandagrama. So it's not so far. It's actually 7 kilometers, that distance is 7 kilometers. So now we're going to go another 3 kilometers down the road to Sanket. Sanket means signal. And this is exactly halfway between Varshana and Nandagrama. So when Krishna is on the rooftop in Nandagrama, he can see any signal coming from Sanket. And Shri Radhika can also see from the rooftop in Varshana any signal. They would have smoke signals or signals with mirrors or signals. The parrots would also speak loudly from there. So in different ways, they would be able to connect with each other. So now we're coming into Sanket, which is in the center. And here we have Sanket Vihari, this very beautiful Thakurji in the front here. We also have Purnamasi Devi is here. And we come into right close to where this temple is that we're looking at. Just beside here is the Bhajan Kutia of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, yes, this is the Bhajan Kutia of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He would reside here. So we can chant his pranam mantra momentarily. Bhaktya vilasam shunute prabodha Nandasya shishyo bhagavat priyasya Gopala bhatta raghunatha dasa Santo Sayam Rupa Sanatana So. Gopal Bhatta, the disciple of Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is very dear to Sri Chaitanya Dev, is compiling the book of Hari Bhakti Vilas for the pleasure of Rupa Sanatan and Raghunath Das. So Gopal Bhatta, we know his glories coming originally from Sri Rangam, his father Venkatapata, and his uncle Prabodhananda Saraswati, who he takes Diksha initiation from. Then he travels to Braj after his parents have left this world, and he takes the shelter of Rupa and Sanatan, particularly Sanatan Goswami. As Jiva Goswami took the shelter of Rupa Goswami, so Gopal Bhatta Goswami takes the shelter of Sanatan Goswami and assists him in all his compilations and writings, etc. Practically speaking, Gopal Bhatta Goswami compiled, we can say, this Hari Bhakti Vilas after Sanatan Goswami had written all the texts and so on. He was actually responsible for putting it all, huge compilation. So he was the sevak directly of Sanatan Goswami. And he resided here in a very humble cottage, but now there's a nice samadhi here. So we remember Gopal Bhatta in Sanketia. And just in front of his kutia, across a little space, there's a rasa stali and there's a julan stali also. There's a place of the julan would be performed here. So yes, this is the julan. Here a large swing would be here commemorating the wonderful Rasik pastimes between Radha and Krishna, because this was such a close place for Radha and Krishna to meet separately from their elders. From Nandagrama and Varshana, they could sometimes escape briefly and meet here. Radharani, her separation would increase so high, even after being with Krishna for a number of hours. As soon as she left his company, she would immediately start heating in separation, more or less. So any opportunity for them to meet, the Sakis would arrange so many different adventures for them to meet, which we get all these descriptions, pastimes. So this is Sanket, which is the meeting place. And Brinda Devi also would be regularly here arranging those meetings. Those meetings can never transpire without the arrangement of Vrinda Devi. Radha and Krishna never ever meet without the arrangement of Vrinda Devi. It's always Vrinda Devi who makes that connection, just as it's Tulsi Devi, Vrinda Devi, who gives us our mala that we connect with, the mala that we hold on our necks, the mala that we chant with, etc. So Vrinda Devi is tremendously prominent in the meeting pastimes between Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna are so shy sometimes of each other, but it's Vrinda Devi who orchestrates the atmosphere so that they will meet. And the Sakis also, of course, are greatly supportive. Of course, Madhu Mangal also and Subal Saka, they also, Radha and Krishna, they need that support to actually meet. So now we come past Sanket and we come towards the next beautiful place, which is Prema-sarovara, which is about another kilometer from Sanket. So if you get the mood of the geography, it's all very much packed in together. This is Prema-sarovara. Many years ago, 20 years ago, this sarovar also was practically falling into great disrepair. But now recently, it's all been refurbished by many different groups. The Braj group has put this together very nicely. And in the rainy season, it gets filled with very sweet water. So we always circumambulate this sarovar with great gravity, understanding the depth of the pastime that actually took place here. One time Krishna is sitting here, Sri Radhika is resting on his lap. All the Sakis are standing around, even Madhu Mangal is there. And there's great festive and joy and joking, etc. And then one bee wants to taste the fragrance of Srimati Radhika's lotus feet and is buzzing around constantly and then starts to buzz around her divine lotus face, relishing the fragrance. And Madhu Mangal, he comes with a stick and he chases that bee away. And he returns and he says, Madhusudan has gone forever. So Radhika is only absorbed in the mood of being with Madhusudan, who is Krishna. Madhusudan also means bee. So he's saying that he's chased that bee away forever. And when Sri Radhika hears that Krishna has gone away forever, she cannot contain herself. And she goes into this height of separation mood, even though she's sitting on Krishna's lap at that very time. It's Prem by Chitya, it's called. And the height of her separation mood just astonishes all the Sakis. It astonishes Krishna. Everyone is astonished. This is a demonstration directly of her absolute attraction for Krishna. Krishna becomes astonished when he sees this. He knows how much Radhika loves him to some degree, but at every moment, as we described the other day, this love is increasing, or the appreciation of each other's affection for each other. But now, when Krishna is witnessing this directly, and he tells all the other gopis to be quiet and just to appreciate and witness what Sri Radhika is going through. And then she's calling out, oh, oh Krishna, 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 oh Madhusudan, Madhusudan, like this. And she's feeling and exhibiting so many high barbs of separation, weeping, hairs standing on end, etc. This kampu, different astasatvika barbs are pouring out of her body. And by varnya, this heating. And then Krishna, when he witnesses this, this is actually when he makes his decision to leave Braj. It's by this, seeing this exhibition of Radhika's immersion in Krishna, when she thinks he's not even there, then this is practically the highest mood that can be attained. My Gurudev described so many times that meeting is the pinnacle. and separation is the highest. They both are identical in the sense that they both culminate in the same height of their Ashtasattvika experiences. It's called Sudipta, this height of bhav. So in meeting or in separation, they actually come to the same point of connection with each other. So when Krishna perceives this, then he decides that actually I will leave Braj. Very shortly after this, then just behind us now is Uddhava-kyari, but then this pastime takes place afterwards when Akrura comes and takes Krishna away from Vrindavan, which seems like forever. It's 100 years. He takes Krishna away for 100 years. And there's a road right beside there. It's called Akrura Rasta. And nobody will use it except when they really have to, just to move their buffaloes. They don't like that road at all because that was the road where Akrura took Krishna away. But in this place of Prema-sarovara, which is such a beautiful pastime place today, when we come here, there are many, many green parrots, very large, beautiful trees are there, flowering, blossoming trees. And the sarovar itself is filled with fragrant water for bathing and so on. But this is the depth of the pastime that actually takes place here, is when Radhika exhibits this Prem Vaitchitya. And there's the beautiful deity of Prem Bihari. The deities of Prem Bihari are here. And there's Radha Govinda are here also. There's two temples as we circumambulate that are here that we can offer our Dandavat pranams to. But this pastime is extraordinary, especially as we appreciate we are coming from the Western world and where we have so much separation ourselves from these pastimes and being in Vrindavan much of the time. So when we hear the extraordinary nature of this particular pastime, it's like it's a unique, special type of exhibition of bhav that Sri Radhika is exhibiting. Many of the pastimes, like in our Pranaya Geet, we understand when we hear about this pastime, when the gopis are standing directly in front of Krishna and they're simultaneously feeling separation because Krishna has told them to go home. So they're feeling separation at the same time that they are in front of Krishna. Krishna is there directly, but they're still having that simultaneous, not complete meeting, but still an impending separation mood is there. So we've described many times that the meeting and separation, without these two forces, the embankments of a river, the two embankments of meeting and separation, must be there to propel the speciality of the sweetness of meeting. Without separation, there can be no meeting. And without the meeting, there's always separation afterwards. So these two moods have to be there to escalate the loving experience between Radha and Krishna. So this is what this is the pastime principally that we speak in Prema-sarovara, and we appreciate the attractiveness of this place. This is away from any large village atmosphere. It's a very small, because originally it was just a sarovar in the middle of nowhere. Now, of course, there's a few houses around and so on, but it's still a very small area, location. So we can still hear, the birds, etc. And there's a very wonderful sense of speciality in this place. So this is Prema-sarovara. So we've been to Sanket, we've discussed Gopal Bhatta, and we've touched on Prema-sarovara. Of course, there are more to say, but I'm keeping this in time here. So we're ahead of time, I believe. So I'm sorry that Shukdwaiti Maharaj, who had a whole lengthy preparation on, perhaps he'll speak on another time and can offer his prayers to this Prema-sarovara. I'll stop there. Vanchakalpa Dhruvyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnivyo, Vaishnavivyo, Namo Namaha. Prema-sarovara ki jai.
Jai Maharaj. Wow, such nectar today is unbelievable. And we are very fortunate. I've seen so many people go to these places. They go with their whole family, they get a car, arrive there, they get out, take photos, go there, give a donation, take some prasadam sometimes, and leave. And I just stopped one family one time. I asked them, "Where are you coming from?" And they say, "Oh, we're coming from Delhi." Oh, okay. So why are you here? Says, "Oh, every year we come here. I used to come here with my grandmother." Okay, so do you know what happened here? And he says, "No, I just come because that's what my grandmother did with me when I was a child, and I just keep the tradition. I bring my children now." So, "But don't you know what happened here the past time?" And he says, "No, probably something to do with Krishna." So we are really fortunate. They have the birth there, they have the language, they can hear the Karigata directly from the pure devotees, but no association. They want to do all this by themselves.
Very, very interesting, Nityananda, because actually
Yeah.
the devotees from the West, they have the real ingredient of greed because they're separated
Yes.
directly. And you see the enthusiasm of so many Western devotees in comparison to many of the Indian devotees, even today.
Mm.
Because they're there. There's some complacency there in the mode of goodness, etc. But the greed that the Western devotees can come up with is extraordinary. The hunger, because they're not in touch so much. So they have
Yeah.
more greed.
But then you see the opposite as well. You see also sometimes the devotees who come and they will walk for 1 month to arrive there because they don't have money for the ticket to go on a train. And they will stay there in the Parikram Guru. They will tell them, "You have to give something, even a paisa, whatever you give donation here. It's very important for you." So yes, either you have everything, but you are not there, so there is greed, or you have nothing, you are there, and there is greed. In between, that's a dangerous place.
But that's the ingredient that we hope to get inspired by hearing all these pastimes. The inspiration to
Yes.
Radha and Krishna. And today we've covered a huge area of consciousness, we can say, from Rupa Goswami to Nanda-bhavana to Lalita-kunda to Uddhava-kyari to Sanket to Prema-sarovara. It's a lot of ground. It's a lot of moods that are there we've walked through. So it's good.
Yeah. But yes, it's important to also have that mentality that we're not there, but when we go, we have to also give some donation. And all these places Gurudev has said, give donation is very important. Very, very important.
Especially
So even $1.
especially
Yeah.
in the month of Kartik. Everything is multiplied.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yes,
you are,
yes, indeed.
even listening to Harikatha, whoever's hearing this Harikatha today, are going to make, so much progress just by hearing it in the month of Kartik. Later on, they process this through the next 12 months, but hearing it now is essential.
Okay. So I guess that will conclude the places that we visited today and the glorifications for the great personalities, Srinivasacharya, Dhananjaya Pandit, and Gadadhar Das Thakur, not to be confused with Gadadhar Pandit, although they are both coming from Radhika, one from Radhika herself, the body, and the other one from the effulgence. Yeah, so that means that we're now coming to the kirtan part of the program, and my wife is somewhere in the house. I don't know where she is. She says that she's afraid that there will be some feedback with the mics, so she's hiding from me. But we will hear her soon, probably. Oh yeah, there she is. So let me see if I can unmute her. There.
Hare
Excellent.
Krishna. Dhanava pranams. Thank you so much for the beautiful Harikatha. I was going to sing Shri Lalita Ashtakam, which is page 303 in this book. And with permission, I'd like to read the translation first because it's so very beautiful.
A little bit louder, please. I think the mic is too far
sure.
from you.
Shri Lalita Ashtakam, page 303, by Srila Rupa Goswami. Her body is engaged in wiping away glistening drops of perspiration from the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Madhav. In superlative Sulada Ras, she always remains independent. I offer pranam unto the audacious Lalita Devi, who is a repository of beauty, sweetness, gravity, and various other charming qualities. Her beautiful face mocks the brilliance of the full moon. Her lovely eyes are ever restless, like those of a startled doe. She is renowned for her extraordinary expertise in the art of dressing Srimati Radhika. I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Her silk dress is as beautiful as the wonderfully multicolored feathers of an ecstatically dancing peacock. Her body is nicely adorned with various kinds of jeweled ornaments and a bodice. Her golden complexion defeats the luster of Gaurachan. I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. O Kalinkini, unchaste one, Radhike, Brajendra Nandan is very cunning, so be firm in your contrariness. Don't give in to gentle submission. Radhe, listen to these beneficial words. In this way, she gives instructions. I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Upon hearing Brajendra Nandan speak even a few crafty words to Srimati Radhika, her eyes become red with fury, and she immediately shames him with sarcastic words such as, "You are so truthful, simple-hearted, and such a chaste lover." I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. She is the resting place of Vatsalya Ras of Goparaj Nanda's queen, Shri Yashoda Devi. As the instructing guru of all the Sakhis, she teaches them the art of friendship. She is the very life of Srimati Radhika and of the younger brother of Baladev. Alternatively, Srimati Radhika and the younger brother of Baladev are her very life. I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Upon seeing any young maiden anywhere in Braj and discerning that she is inclined towards her Priya Sakhi, Rishabhanu Nandini Srimati Radhika, Lalita immediately fills all of that maiden's internal desires and makes her life successful. I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Her primary engagement is providing pleasure to Shri Shri Radha Govinda by arranging their meetings, which she considers to be the best of all festivals. She is the foremost among all Priya Sakhis of Gokul. I offer pranam unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. One who, with a cheerful and pure heart, recites these 8 verses in praise of Lalita Devi, which are extremely beautiful due to their description of her charming qualities, is affectionately drawn to Srimati Radhika, the brilliant, wish-fulfilling Kripa of the dynasty of Kirtirtha Devi's husband, Sri Vishabhanu Maharaj, and enters her own group of Sakhis, who she counts among her very own. Jai Hare
Jai,
Krishna.
thank you.
Radha Mukunda Padasambhava Garma Bindu Nirmanchanopakarani Krita Deha Laksham Uttanga Sahridvishasharvashapakalampam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Raka Sudha Kirana Mandala Kanditandi Vaktra Shiyam Chakita Charu Chamura Netram Radha Prasadhana Vidhana Kala Prasidham Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Yasyola Sadbhukchaga Chatrupatatra Chitra Patam Shuka Parana Kanchulikan Chitangim Gora Chanaruchi Vigharna Gorimanam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Turte Brajendra Tanaye Tano Shuštuvamyam Madakshina Bhavakalinkini Laghavaya Radhe Giram Shinuhitam Iti Sikshayanti Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Radham Abhi Brajapate Kritamatmajena Kutam managapi vilokya vilokitakshim. Vakpangipistamachirena vilajayantim. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Vatsalya vrindavasitim pashupaladanya. Sakyano shikshanakala shugurum shikinam. Radha balavarajavitta niveshisham. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Yam kamapi prajakule vrishabhanujaya. Preksha swapaksha parivim manurajyamanam. Sadyastadishtagatane kritatayantim. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Radha Brajendra Sutta Sangamarangacharya. Varyam Vinishchita Vitim Akilotsavepya. Tango Kula Priya Sakinikuram Mukyam. Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. Nandanumani Lalita Gunai Lalitani Pradyani Yapatati Nirmala Drishtirashtu. Pritya Vikarshiti Janam Nija Brindamadye. Tam Kirtita Patikalotra Lakalpavali. Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. 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 Jaya Lalita Devi, Jaya Lalita Devi, Jaya Lalita Devi, Jaya Lalita Devi, Jaya Rupa Goswami, Jaya Rupa Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jaya Rupa Goswami, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Haribol, 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 Gora Haribol. Jai Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Haribol.
Jai Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So this will conclude today's Zoom parikram, Sumikram. I don't know how they call it. Anyhow, so thank you everybody for participating and being here. Now, as last part of the parikram is basically 1 week from today, we will conclude the Brajamandal parikram to 2025. That means that in 2 days we have the Bhishma Panchak on Saturday, I believe. So there's a lot of things coming up. I understand that for most of you, having work, family, business, everything to do, might be difficult this weekend, but please try to do an effort, make the arrangements necessary, and yeah, hope to see everybody here. So Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vrindayaya tulasi devayaya priyaya kesavasicha krishna bhakti pradidevi satyabhaktaya namo namaha. Vrindavana vanipate jaya soma soma male sanaka sanana sanatana naradetya gopishvara varaja vilashi yugangripate prema prayacha nirupadi namo namaste. Radesha Keli Prabhutabhinoda Vinasavingyam Prajapanditang Kripalotade Klevishavadiam Sri Purnamasi Sri Rasanamani. So thanks everybody. We'll now end the live stream if I can find how to.